Hey folks, it's Dizzy. Welcome to Skip Squad Chronicles, the podcast where we celebrate the incredible stories behind the jump rope community. Each week, I sit down with a fellow jumper to uncover what makes them tick, why they jump, and the impact that it's had on their life. It's all about sharing the joy, the challenges, and inspiration that keep us coming back to the rope. This week, I'm so excited to chat with Mandy Shaw. You may know her as @MandyShaw366 on Instagram. I'll link her profile in the show notes. We had a really fun, engaging conversation that I can't wait for you to hear. She is organizing a really cool event that I think you'll want to be part of if you can. So without further ado, let's skip to it. Mandy Shaw, thank you so much for joining me on Skip Squad Chronicles. I'm so glad
Hi,
to have you
Dizzy.
here.
Yeah, it's an absolute pleasure. I'm so excited to be speaking with you. I really am.
This is lovely. So can you tell me a little bit about where you're at?
Where I live?
Yes.
Yeah. So I live in a small village called Tackleston. It's about 20 miles south of Norwich in Norfolk, UK.
Okay. How far away? I'm really not good with UK geography. How far away are you from like London?
About a 2.5 hour drive.
Okay.
Yeah, not too bad. And the roads are pretty good. They're mostly like dual carriageways or motorways. So it's a decent journey.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've talked to some people before on the podcast about, I think Becky, we talked about like a London jump rope meetup. Have you ever been to any of
Yeah.
those big jump rope meetups?
No, I haven't. I nearly got to one back in the summer, but it ended up clashing with some family that were coming over to visit. So it was kind of like family, jump rope. It was a tough decision. I'm not going to lie. It was a tough
Yeah,
decision. I really wanted to go, but yeah, I would love to go to one of those meetups.
they
They look
sound
so
so
fun,
exciting.
and there's some really excellent pro skippers that go there as well.
Yeah, no kidding. So when did you get started skipping?
So, literally just over a year ago, 13 months ago now, I actually picked up my first skipping rope in October 2023. And that was joining the 100 skips a day challenge for Cancer Research UK.
Cool.
So I'm kind of like, how difficult can it be? Pick up a skipping rope, do some skipping. It's only 100. That'd be easy, Mandy. And I'd never done a sponsored event ever before. So I thought, well, it'd be a first for everything. Anyway, on that first day, 1st of October, I did about 20 or 30 skips, basic bounce, had to go and sit down for 5 minutes to recover.
Yeah, it's hard as an adult, isn't it?
My gosh, yeah, it really is. And it took me, so the challenge was to do 100 skips a day. It didn't really matter to an extent if you did that all in one go, or 2 lots of 50, or 5 lots of 20, whatever, just whatever your skill level
Or 100
was.
lots of one.
Yes, 100 lots of one, perfect, yeah. And there's some really, really amazing people that take part in these challenges. Cancer survivors and fighters, people that are going through treatment, and everybody's at different skill levels. But the community and the encouragement that people give each other is absolutely amazing. It's really, and I think that was partly what hooked me to stay in the skipping community as well.
Mm.
So yeah, I started on that first day, needed a rest after about 20 or 30 skips. It took me until the 13th of that month to do my first 100 in one go. I was like, yay! But I was also quite tearful because it was the anniversary of my mum's passing, and she also passed away from cancer. So it was mixed feelings, and it was probably quite a good thing that the battery ran out on my phone, because I was doing a little after speech and I'm like, and today I'm so tearful because, and then it cut off. So
Yeah.
But there we are. So that's where I started, and I kind of I just caught the skipping bug, I guess. And I thought, well, like you've said, and I've heard other guests say, I saw it benefiting me personally. So I'm stronger physically. I've got better stamina. I can run and be with and not get left behind by the children that I take care of.
You can catch the little
I can
rascals.
pick up my granddaughter and not be puffed out. It's helped me lose over a stone in weight as well.
Congratulations.
Yeah. No, I can't, skipping is, I was going to say easy. It's not easy, but it's easy to pick up and it's easy to start. You can get a fairly decent skipping rope over here for less than £10. And there's not many sports that you can do that with, is there?
You can throw it in your purse or your backpack. You can
Yeah,
just hang it around your neck like this and walk
yeah.
around.
I think I'm going to
I
take a
have my
couple with me,
backpack of
actually.
like a dozen. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to take a couple with me when I go to Texas to see our son over Christmas. So I'm jumping the gun a bit with things we're going to be talking about, but
Yeah.
I'm going to challenge him to skip with me.
Good for you. Did you
Yeah.
hear the previous podcast where PETA was mad that she had to check her rope in her luggage because they thought that it could be used as a weapon if it were on her
Yeah.
carry-on?
And that's a good point, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah.
I never would have thought of that. Like, I'm going to choke someone out with my jump rope.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good point, actually. Maybe I should put it in my suitcase luggage rather
Yeah.
than my carry-on luggage.
I would just be so sad if they took it and I couldn't,
Yeah.
like, they just pitched it in the garbage or something. Because I
Oh,
named them all. They're my
no.
babies, right?
Yeah. I'll be
So
careful.
when you caught the bug, what was the first sort of feeling you had like, hey, I might just keep this up because I like this?
Yeah, exactly that, to be honest. Like I mentioned just now, the skipping community that we've got, there's a group of just over 400 of us now in a Facebook group, and we all started in the Cancer Research Skipping Challenges. So
Cool.
we're kind of like, lots of people were saying, I think I really enjoy this, I'd like to carry on. And I'm like, okay, skip over to this other group, welcome you with open arms. Everybody encourages each other. And yeah, and I also, like I say, I felt it benefiting me as an individual, like I say, my fitness went stronger, more stamina,
Mm-hmm.
able to keep up with the kids. And so I've actually completed 3 of those types of skipping challenges, 4 actually now. I did October last year, March, June, and October this year. And I think it just gives you a little bit of a buzz as well. Do you know what I mean? Because there's so many things you can do to progress. It's not like you learn the basic bounce and that's it. Then you do like alternate foot skips, or you learn crossovers or double unders and
Yeah.
side swings. And there's all these fancy footwork things that you can pick up. And
Yeah.
it's like, there's always something new to learn that you can push yourself to do better, or, things like that.
I know what you mean. And it doesn't take much. Like for me, if I am practicing someday and I just do one piece of footwork a little different and notice it on video, I'm like, oh, that's so cool. And
Yeah.
I was talking to my stepmom the other day and she's like, it all just looks like jump rope to me. And I was like, no, but you don't understand. I was doing the running man backwards.
Yeah.
But yeah,
You
you're
have, you
right.
have to
There's
be in
so
the
much to learn
community.
and it's so fun. I just never get over how fun it is. Of course,
Yeah.
I'm a music person. Do you jump to music?
Haven't learned how to yet. My skipping space is in my back garden. So
Okay.
I've got like a paved area
Mm-hmm.
where I skip, and I do film myself, obviously, but I'm not techno clever enough to do it to music. So I'm just kind of like, I count when I'm trying to do my challenges, like my
Mm-hmm.
newest personal best. You probably laugh at this because you probably do loads more, but my newest personal best was 340 non-stop basic bounce.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I wouldn't laugh at that at all.
It took me just under 2 minutes, so it was a pretty speedy speed as well.
That's cool. Did you
Yeah.
did you use a rope that actually counted your skips or how did you count?
No, I just count in my head. And then if I lose count, this is why I video it. And then I just watch it back and count when I'm
Count
watching it
again.
back.
Yeah, that's great. I've had a couple people give me those digital ones that actually count your skips.
Yeah.
And I honestly haven't even used one of them yet. I have 2 of them,
Yeah.
but I haven't even
I don't
tried it
know.
yet.
I don't know if I would trust them because they're just going to count the motion, aren't they?
Yeah, and for me, that's I guess honestly the reason that I've been procrastinating using them is that that's not really why I jump rope is the number of skips. Like I
Yeah.
don't care if I burn 700 calories or 800 calories or whatever. It's the fun of it, like
Yeah,
I'm in there to
absolutely.
dance, totally.
Yeah. I love your style, Dizzy. I watch your videos nearly every day now, and they're just
Thank you.
so fun. And the fact that you don't fall off of those rocks, how does that
Yeah.
even work? We've got like invisible glue that springs up with you.
I have a lot of practice. I think you probably heard me talking to Janie about falling off the rocks and how she said she was so worried about me falling out. Like every time
Yeah.
she watched these videos, like worried about me And I said, oh, don't worry about
There
it,
was a really thin one yesterday or a couple of days ago. It looked like it was literally only one width of a foot wide. And I'm like, he's going to fall off. He's going to fall off. But you
Yeah,
didn't. It's amazing.
there's one that I've jumped on pretty routinely that's a foot wide. But last weekend I went up to the high school and they've got these concrete like barricade things that you would have like in the road, and they're 8 inches on top, or like 7 or 8 inches. And so I
Yeah.
was like, I'm going to do that, and they're up higher, so I did that. That was fun.
I
But
wouldn't be brave enough to do that.
I think I gave some people mild heart murmurs.
Yeah.
So, what do you like to do? Like, how would you describe your style of jump rope, or what are the things that you enjoy most?
I think I enjoy pushing myself to see how many consecutive jumps I can do. I think that probably stems from where I first started, in the skips challenge. The whole point was to do these 100 skips. And then I'm like, okay, well, can I do 150? Can I do 200? Can I do 300? So I like to push myself and see how many skips I can do without stopping. And then the other one I like to do, but I've gotten worse at it rather than better recently, is the double under. So I've somehow fallen into a terrible habit of jumping, but then doing a little half jump backwards as I land.
Okay,
And consequently, when I do that, it's catching on my feet.
sure.
So I've got to work on springing up rather than jumping. And then I think I'll be back to doing still only about half dozen in a row. But, that's not bad
Yeah.
for somebody of my age, I'm going to say.
No, that's great. And double lunges are not something that I've really worked on a lot, but sometimes I just like while I'm doing my thing and listening to music, I will try it. And I tried it the other day with that heavy jump rope from Mira Weight. You know what I'm talking about? That blue one that I've talked about before. And it's I think after I resized it, it's almost a quarter pound, and had that thing flying around, and I was like, I'm going to do a double under, and I caught myself in the ankles so hard it just almost took my breath away.
Well,
But I like to say that hurt so good. Yeah.
Yeah, no, talking about hurting parts of your body. When I was learning crossovers about 6 or 8 months ago, and kept whipping me to, oh my gosh, hurt so much, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I decided to go into my son's old bedroom, and he had cricket pads, that you put on your shins and on your thighs. So I decided to put one of these pads in my shorts across my buttock to save my poor area of my body.
Did the neighbors have line of sight to you?
No, luckily not.
Okay, well, that's hilarious.
So, but what it did, all joking aside, was it meant that I wasn't then scared to try the skill, because I knew that even if the rope hit me, it wasn't going to sting and hurt and make me run around the garden in pain for 5 minutes. So, yeah, there you go. How to learn crossovers with the zero pain going on.
Yeah, yeah. It's been super cold here the last week. And yesterday or the day before, I was out there and I was jumping with that heavy rope and had it going really fast and hit myself in the butt so hard and it was really cold. Like, I mean, it was like, I think it was like 16 degrees or -7 Celsius, something like that. And I whacked if for some reason when it's cold like that, it's just takes my breath away. And I walked around for like a minute just rubbing my butt. I thought I
can relate.
Yeah. It was amazing. Yeah. That was the hardest I've been spanked in so long.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not fun, is it? When you think about how fast those ropes are going around our bodies, and when it just suddenly stops all of a sudden on your foot, your ankle, your back, your face, whatever. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if you don't listen to music, you may not have this experience, but I was laughing at this one lady on Instagram, Tarinka, who is just a lovely skipper. She's super fun. But she posted a video at one point where she was skipping with a beaded rope and caught her over the ear headphones. And I made some, a smart aleck comment about it. And she said something about how frustrating it was or how mad it made her. And I just kind of laughed it off. And then a few days later, I did it to myself and just launched them off my head. And of course, I was like, she's right. Yeah. So you have been taking part in several different challenges, but you are also organizing a challenge, if I understand correctly.
Yeah, literally as a direct result of taking part in all these challenges. In fact, the story is that I was kind of like contemplating the challenge, and one of them, this was back in the March one. And I was just kind of pondering about the skipping community, and I thought, I wonder if there's a world record for the most number of people skipping together at any one time. And, obviously, good old Google, you just look it up. And yeah, there are several world records that you can have a go at with regard to skipping. The big plan is that we need around, depending on which world record we go for, we either need 1,000 people or we need 90,000 people.
So what are the different world
difference.
Records there? Yeah, that is a little bit of a difference.
The big number is freestyle. So you can do any style of skipping you like. The only criteria is you have to skip for 3 minutes non-stop. So this is partly why I aim for 300 skips. Because if you're doing a beat of 100 BPM, then that is 3 minutes, 300 skips. So that was where my mentality was for that. If we don't quite reach the heights of the big numbers, the slightly more achievable record is alternate foot skipping. So any style where you're doing alternate foot, so kicking out or, bouncing side to side, boxer skips, whatever.
So it doesn't have to be a routine where everybody's doing the same thing. It's just everybody has to be doing foot alternations.
Yeah, just alternate foot. And that's more achievable because you're only going to need about 1,000 people to take part to do that one. Okay. So if we go somewhere in between, then it's going to be alternate foot skips. Mm-hmm. If we can reach 80 or 90,000, then we can do freestyle and do what you want, as long as it's nonstop for 3 minutes.
So when you say nonstop, like if I were taking part and I trip up, do I have to start over for 3 minutes, or as long as you just keep the rope going?
Yeah, a skip is counted as one rotation and jumping over it.
Okay.
So here is where I still need to get some clarity from the governing bodies, because in the rules it says if you trip up, you're disqualified. If you stop on purpose for more than 10 seconds, then you're also disqualified. So you're thinking what I'm thinking, how are you going to tell the difference if you're judging that section? So the thing is, if the
person's howling in pain and grabbing their ass, then they probably didn't mean it, right?
Yeah, exactly. So that's something I need further clarity from the regulatory bodies that are going to hopefully oversee all this. But the main key is at least do alternate foot skips and aim for 3 minutes. If you can do that, then you can take part in this world record attempt.
Okay. So I'm curious, leading up to that, are you trying to put together any sort of like resources or educational stuff, or Zoom meetings or something where you can help people learn how to alternate foot skip?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we've got a very, very good connection here in the UK with a guy called Dan, the Skipping Man. He is, you can Google him. He's on the internet, and he has many connections with the schools community. And so we are hoping that schools will become our venues. And then the community that is around the school, i.e. the pupils, the parents, the teachers, the grandparents, the villages and towns where they live, all of these people can choose that as their venue, and they go there on the specified date. And at the specified time, everybody starts skipping, 3 minutes, everybody stops skipping. Hopefully we've broken a world record.
Wow. And so this is not just to get a world record though, right? This is also a benefit?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Event.
The whole idea is to basically raise funds for Cancer Research UK. So at the moment, and I keep saying at the moment because everything is still in the planning stage. Obviously, we've still got 10, 12 months to go before the event is due to happen. So at the moment,
September 2025, is that right?
September 2025.
Okay.
September 25. So the plan is that people will be able to register on the Cancer Research UK website, and each person registering will pay, say, registration fee of fairly minimal, five or £10 per participant. But however many people we get taking part, all of that money will go to Cancer Research UK. So simple maths, if you have 90,000 people taking part to go for the big one, because that's the one that we really want, and you times that by £5, that gives you nearly £500,000.
It's a lot.
It
Yeah.
is. People can search for this now. All the information is not quite on the website yet. It will be soon, but you can go on the Cancer Research UK website. You can type in "sport beats cancer skipping." That will take you to an information page,
Okay.
and you can follow the clicks through there, and it will take you to the main information we've got on there at the moment is how to become a volunteer and help to run an event. Eventually, you'll be able to go on there and register as a skipper, as a venue, and as a corporate sponsor.
That's great. So I'm curious, like you must have sort of, or I'm guessing that you're working with somebody or you're doing a lot of math yourself to try and figure out like how many sponsors do you need? How many volunteers do you need to run something that
Exactly.
is going to be 1,000 people versus 90,000 people?
Yeah, exactly.
How do you
What we're
arrive at those
working on at
numbers?
the moment is like a basic template, like a venue information pack.
Mm-hmm.
So in this venue information pack, it will give the people running these events up and down the country a kind of template as to how their event should look and how it should run. So you're going to need some, depending on how many people are at your venue, you're going to need some stewards who will oversee each group of people. And, if you are unfortunate to trip up and you have to be disqualified, they are the people that will be watching and ticking people appropriately.
They have the hook and they pull you off stage. Yeah.
But yeah, obviously, with an event of this scale, there is a lot of background work going on. We're in close liaison with Cancer Research UK, who are doing a lot of the website design, a lot of the information pack
So
design.
amazing.
They're going to take care of all the background tech so that people can register and they'll get a
That's
welcome
so
email,
amazing.
etc. So yeah,
That's a great resource to have.
absolutely it is. Yeah, absolutely it is. So yeah, there'll be more details coming out soon. But if people are curious and they want to click through on the Cancer Research UK website, register some interest, let our contact Polly there, let her know that you're interested, whether you want to be a skipper, a volunteer, a venue, corporate sponsor. And you can have my direct email address as well. Shall I read that out? Is that okay?
You know what? If you want to just give it to me, I can put it in the show notes if you'd
Yep.
like.
Okay then. Yep. We'll do that. Yep.
That would be great. Wow. So that is a huge event. So now when you're going for a world record like this, does everybody have to converge in one place? Like, is everybody going to London or is this done
No,
in
this
groups
is,
throughout the UK?
yeah, this is, the title that we're going for is across multiple venues.
Okay.
So if you go across multiple venues, the current record, she says, glancing at her notes, stands at 70,880 people across multiple venues.
70,000.
If we go for one venue, then it's just under 10,000 people. But that means
Still.
everybody has to converge on one place.
And wouldn't that have to be like London or some big place like that?
London, maybe Manchester,
Manchester.
Birmingham, there's some huge venues. Milton Keynes is quite central to the UK. That's another big, there's
Okay.
other big exhibition halls there. When we were first talking about this idea, we wondered about football grounds, but obviously the problem with football grounds is it's going to be grass and you can't easily jump rope or skip on grass. It's a bit,
Yeah.
I've tried and I can't. It's not,
Yeah.
you can't do
It's
it.
a different texture, isn't it?
Yeah. So the
Yeah.
idea is, like I was saying about the venue information pack, is that we will give that to each individual venue and they will basically run their own event with
awesome.
the only criteria that at, say 3:00 in the afternoon, a big siren will sound, everybody will skip for 3 minutes, another siren will go off at the end of that. And, that's the bit that is the important bit. Everything else around it is going to be up to each individual venue.
So I have a weird little strategy question. Like, could you jump for 6 minutes and then if people are tripping and falling out, you still could potentially get 3 minutes in a row where everybody's skipping? Or
Not
is that
really.
cheating?
No, I think the guidelines that we've been given are quite strict. It's that
Okay.
everybody skips for themselves and it has to be 3:00, 3 minutes past 3. And if you trip up, sadly, you're out.
Yeah.
Wah, wah, wah.
So when you're looking for corporate sponsors, are you looking for just monetary contribution stuff or jump ropes or?
A mixture, really. And our contact Dan is also a skipping supplier, so he's going to be able to supply the skipping ropes to the vast majority of people. There are obviously other skipping organisations that we're trying to forge links with. That's all sort of still going on in the background.
Wondering sort of what sort of sponsorship that you need.
Sponsorship, yes. Sorry, I'll go on a wavelength. So yes, definitely monetary contributions, because there is a huge fee to pay to have the proper authorities to regulate and judge this world record. So that is going to be one of our bigger expenses.
Interesting.
So yeah, if there's any corporates out there looking and interested in the project, we would dearly love to make some links with some people who can just chuck us a few £1,000s towards this project. That would be amazing. And of course, there's going to be some advertising involved. There's going to be some media coverage involved. There's going to be some printing and admin and information packs that need to be given to the venues.
Sure.
Posters, maybe table covers, practical things for on the day, making it look like a proper event and making it look all fabulous.
Yeah.
But there's also, I'm in touch with a brand new contact, who is basically a business development mentor.
Okay.
And so he's going to hopefully help us get some strategy, get a plan, and, make sure that the event is big, because that's what it deserves to be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm sure you probably have connections with people who have organized these types of cancer benefits before, because...
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, there's been a Sport Beats Cancer cycling event. I went to that a couple of months or so ago. So yeah, we've got some contacts with people that have organised such things. And of course, Cancer Research themselves have. They do Race for Life events. They do nighttime walking events. So they themselves actually have a lot of expertise that they are, supporting us with to put this event on, basically on their behalf. So, it's a win-win, isn't it?
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, what better win-win? Because jumping is one of, you mentioned the health benefits you've got. I've got all those same health benefits and more. And to be able to do that and also contribute to cancer research, to a cause that is something that's touched everybody that I know.
Yeah,
cancer
absolutely.
in some way.
And that's the part where you kind of put your serious face on, because the sad statistic is that, 1 in 2 people are likely to get cancer at some stage in their life.
Mm-hmm.
If you're married, it could be your partner.
Yeah.
It could be one of your children. And that's what drives most people to take part in these events.
Yeah. My stepmom has had cancer 4 times and beat it.
Oh my gosh, no way.
And I just the amount of courage it takes to keep going when that shit happens.
Absolutely.
If I can use a technical
hat off
term.
To your stepmom.
Yeah.
Amazing.
She's a hero.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mentioned, we will definitely have you back on when we're closer to the event, or when you've got all the technical stuff sorted out, so that we can really give people direct instructions on how they can get involved.
Yeah, that would be absolutely amazing.
So fun to take part in something like that. Maybe by that time I'll be rich enough to come out to the UK and skip with you.
See, maybe we just get some sponsors to pay for your flight. Who knows?
Right. Well, one thing that's so cool is, we're talking about the benefits of skipping and stuff, but literally I think 2 or 3 other people I've had on the podcast so far started skipping or started falling in love with skipping because of a cancer research benefit, the 100 skips a day thing. And I think that's such, the benefits that I get from jumping rope, the idea that this cool charitable event could introduce people to the kind of feelings that I get on a daily basis from going out and bouncing is awesome.
Yeah. And that's why, one of the things that gets mentioned in this media release that we've got is already prepared. We're just waiting for the right moment to put it out there. And both myself and Polly, our contact at Cancer Research UK, we're both totally advocating the personal, individual benefits to everybody that takes part, because it's people picking up a skill that they learned as a child, in primary school, and then suddenly doing it as an adult and reliving those benefits and that fun and, that sense of progress and achievement is just amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. It is the most fun I've done, probably the most fun thing I've done as an adult. I mean,
Yeah,
I have so much fun with it and with
yeah,
music, it's just
yeah.
amazing.
I need to learn how to do it to the music.
Are you a musician at all?
I am actually. I play drums in my local church music group.
No
There you
kidding.
go.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Well, I think then you wouldn't have any trouble with it. Like, I think the problem that some people have with jumping to music is just kind of finding the beat or keeping the beat. But
yeah,
if you play drums, you can keep rhythm. You can just find the songs that are at the pace that works for you. And
yeah,
if it's too fast, then you jump in halftime, kind of. Do you
yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Or too
yeah,
slow, you do double time or whatever. I have so much
yeah.
fun with that.
I found a metronome drum beat YouTube clip when I was trying to get the rhythm for alternate foot or boxer skips.
Sure.
I was really good at it, and now I'm getting really rubbish at it. Like I did 30 or 40 and I was tripping up like every 5 or 7. Mandy, come on.
Did you still use the metronome or have you taken that away?
No, I've taken that away now. I was doing quite well with the metronome, but it was a drum beat metronome, and I thought, oh yeah, I can pick up on that, like
Hmm.
a bass beat on 1 and 3 and the snare on 2 and 4. And I got it to an extent, but I haven't learned how to play the drum beat metronome and also video myself at the same time. I'm not sure if I can do that on one device. I don't
Do
know.
you have an iPhone?
Little Android.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know one thing I learned about the iPhone was like I would listen to Spotify and then I would want to video myself. And if I started videoing myself, it would cut off the music. I
Yeah.
think iOS has changed, so it doesn't do that as much now. But one of the tricks was to listen to the music and then press and hold on photo and then just slide the thing to the right. So if I press the little button and slide it to the right, it will actually start videoing, but keep the music going. So,
Okay. I'll have to have a little play with that then.
yeah. So as far as your own skipping, you mentioned some of the tricks that you like doing. Do you plan on what you're going to do next? Like, do you have goals for your next skipping challenge personally?
Yeah. Yeah. I like to stretch myself on the number of skips I can do
Hmm.
in any one go. And the other day at the gym, I did 25 crossover to open non-stop. And amazingly, without getting too much out of breath, I kind of surprised myself. So I know it's doing me good.
Yeah.
But one trick is eluding me at the moment, and that's the EB, where you go behind, in front, and then skip.
Yeah.
I can't seem to get that one down. So that is a trick that's eluding me at the moment.
Yeah. I don't practice that one a lot. And every once in a while I get cocky and I'll be flowing and I'm like, I'm going to just throw this in and then smack myself in the head or catch it around the back of
Yeah,
my neck or something.
yeah.
Yeah.
I need to find a good tutorial on that one, I think.
We've talked about him on every episode. Aaron, Aaron Jumps
Yeah.
365. I think he mentioned you. He's really great with all of those crosses
Oh
and
my gosh.
EBs and stuff like that.
Literally every skip that he does is a trick, isn't it? He doesn't even do a trick to open. He just
Yeah.
does,
Only this
side,
last week is
release.
I think he announced recently that he's trying to work on footwork more because that's one of
Yeah,
his biggest challenges. So he's been actually jumping more rather than just like he's a trick machine, like you said, that
yeah,
there's almost never a skip that doesn't have a cross or an EB
yeah,
or a toad
exactly.
or a
Yeah,
frog or an elephant.
yeah.
Yeah.
I want to learn all these names as well to
I
the tricks.
yeah,
There's like the frog and the elephant and the toad. I'm like,
I
what?
have
What
no
are they
idea.
talking of?
I know. I just said elephant. I have no idea if that's a trick. The crocodile. Yeah. Have you faced any injuries or challenges while skipping?
No, only when I was learning the crossovers. Did I tell you about that already?
Smacking yourself with the rope?
Yes, on the
Yeah.
bottom area.
Right,
Yes,
right. And having to
yes,
wear a pad. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah,
Put my
that's pretty
son's
amazing.
cricket pad there, so at least I could learn the skills. So nothing more than the odd whip, really.
Yeah, yeah.
I think I had one time where I got caught on the back of my head, smack right across the back of my head. Yeah, that wasn't fun. That took my breath away, and I'm like, just stop the video, back in a bow.
Yeah. Back after I have a little
Luckily,
cry.
Yeah, exactly. And then the odd kind of like, if you don't warm up properly, note to self, always warm up properly, especially if you're skipping outside, where, if you kind of land not quite right, you might like just crack your ankle and you're like, oh, just a
Mm.
moment, be back in a sec.
Mm-hmm.
But
What is
yeah,
your warm up
nothing more
like,
than that.
Mandy?
Sorry.
What is your warm up like?
Well, I kind of like do some calf stretches, where you just, I can't demonstrate it without doing it. Yeah, where you have one leg bent and one leg straight out and you just point your toes up. So I do that on
Mm-hmm.
both sides.
So you're
I
trying to
do,
really like stretch the back of your knee or the
yeah,
calf
stretch
area.
the back of your calf,
Mm-hmm.
flex, warm up your knees, warm up your ankles. And then I do some push-ups just to get strength in my shoulders and in my wrists and just get your heart rate going.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
Shape those guns.
yeah. Um, and then I do some squat thrusts just to, so you like this, do like
Yep,
this in
I
press up
do
position,
those.
yeah. So I do some of those, and yeah, that's just enough to get your heart rate going a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
warm up your calves and your ankles and your knees, get your shoulders a
Mm-hmm.
bit warmed up. And yeah, I find if I don't do that these days, I end up tripping up a lot or, running out of breath or my calves start aching
Mm-hmm.
after 100 skips instead of, 300 skips. So yeah, I'm got quite a good little warm up routine now.
Yeah, I do
Yeah.
too. Do you, you mentioned, especially if you're doing it outside, is that because of the cold that it's,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah.
There's been occasions when I've tried to skip indoors because it is so cold outside.
Mm-hmm.
And the roofs in my house are only just tall enough, only just high
Yeah.
enough to
You
do
can't,
a decent skip.
you can't
And I
double
have to be
under in
really
there.
aware of what's around me, and
Mm-hmm.
that can kind of put you off a little bit because you're kind of
Yeah.
like, I can't do many tricks indoors because obviously your hand position changes slightly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mostly skip outside or at the gym where of course the ceilings are higher anyway.
Mm. Are there other people that skip at the gym?
No, I'm the only one at the moment. But
Yeah.
excuse the pun, I am hoping to rope them into the world record breaking attempt.
That's great. Yeah, well, they could be a venue. I mean, I think it's such a natural thing as a company to want to participate in that because there's no downside. All you could do is
No,
help the community
exactly.
and help everybody and, throw a little money at it, or
Yeah,
jump ropes or something like that.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mostly skip outside in the garden. So yeah, it's important to have a warm up because you're going into the cold, so you need your limbs to be warm. Otherwise, you can do yourself an injury. And we don't want injuries really. We want to avoid the injuries.
It's
I need to say bye bye to my daughter. She's going to be our participant communication officer for the skipping challenge.
nice. You've roped your daughter in
I
already.
have roping everybody in.
Don't skip that. Yeah, I've noticed here since it's gotten below freezing that I will do my warm up routine and then just do it again. Like I use that Fancy Feets app. I think I've mentioned that
Yeah,
before. And
yeah,
Lauren has like her intermediate warm up. And so I do that with some variations and some extra stuff in there. But cold days like today, I will just do it twice. And I
yeah,
notice it, sometimes I feel like, oh, I just want to start jumping to music. But especially when I do the shoulder rotation thing, I get super tight. And it's amazing how
yeah.
just going through that routine for 20 seconds for 3 times in a row, it like really opens things up and I feel so
Yeah,
much better.
it
And
really does make a difference to do a proper, just take 5 minutes, 10 minutes to do a proper warm up. And then it
mhm,
really does benefit, whatever you're trying to do in your session after
yeah.
that. Yeah, yeah,
Do you do
definitely.
a cool down as well, Mandy?
Not strictly, no. Maybe
Hmm.
I should introduce a cool down, but my cool down is normally flopping in the armchair and watching my video back and counting my skills.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. I don't do a proper cool down as well, usually. I mean, that's something I need to work on. I often am like, all right, it's really like now it's really cold. I want to get back in the car and thaw out.
Yeah,
But yeah, I think that stretching and stuff after the fact can really help too, because I know there are times where I haven't paid attention to the post stretching stuff. And then an hour later, I feel like I've had it happen where I'll cramp up, like get the Charlie horse kind of stuff, which is no fun.
Yeah. Yeah, not good. Not good.
Yeah. So I'm curious, how often are you jumping? Like, is this a daily thing for you, or how often do you jump it for how long?
Okay, so when I'm doing one of the skipping challenges, obviously it's every day,
Hmm.
and I do the minimum 100 skips, and depending on time constraints, I'll see what else I can fit in.
Hmm.
These days, I'm probably skipping 3 times a week, but every time I skip, it's like a good half-hour workout rather than
Hmm.
just 100 skips and then you're done sort of thing.
Sure.
Like yesterday, I did a whole routine out in the garden, and I did I did another 300 skips, not all in one go that time. I did take a break. So I did some basic bounce, I did some boxers, I did some three where you go all the way
Mm,
around and then start again. I did some arm wraps.
nice.
I did some crossovers. I did some double unders because I haven't done any of those for a while. So I'm
Hmm.
definitely out of practice on the double unders. And then, I kind of I can come back indoors and feel really great after a session like that because,
Hmm.
you've kind of pushed yourself just enough that you can achieve a new goal or, try a new skill or,
Hmm.
you do just enough so that you can come in and go, that was a good session. That I feel good. I've burned a few calories. I've done something new, or I've done a few more
Yeah.
continuous, whatever.
Yeah.
But the only trouble with that is then I then have to take a day to recover from a workout like that. So
Correct. Yeah.
from a consistency point of view, it would probably be better to do less, but do it more often.
Yeah. So you're doing a half hour or more, like every
Yeah,
other day,
yeah,
basically. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. That's what I aim for. Sometimes life gets in the way and you don't quite achieve it, but that's what I aim for.
Yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah. My challenge is that since it's been getting dark so early on the
Yeah,
weekdays, like by the time I'm done with work for the day, it's already basically full dark. And so
yeah,
I just make a decision to go jump in the dark. And some evenings that's harder than others. But the weekends, while it's light, I go out and jump as much as I can. And then I
yeah,
pay for it on Monday.
yeah.
But
I also prefer, actually, if I can do it and I can motivate myself to do it, is to do skipping first thing in the morning.
sure.
So the first challenge I ever did back in October last year, one of my friends I was speaking to, she said, "Well, why don't you do it first thing in the morning, and then it's done, and that's the first job off your to-do list done for
Hmm.
the day." And I'm like, "It's a brilliant idea." Yeah, when I'm doing the challenges, I try and do it first thing in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning, 7:30 in the morning. Then I can dash in, do a quick shower, and then I'm ready to go for the day at 8 o'clock.
Good way to start the day.
Yeah, absolutely, it is.
Breakfast
Yeah.
of champions.
Yay! Start the day in calorie deficit, it's always a good way.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah, I think this coming Wednesday I will release a podcast interview with Sean Skip, and
Uh-huh.
he's a morning jumper as well.
Yeah,
I think that's kind of his optimal window, and I think it is such a great way to start the day.
yeah, yeah, it really is.
Well, I really appreciate you coming on and talking to me, Mandy. This has been so much fun.
Oh, it's
And
been
like I said,
brilliant.
we'll definitely have you back on and let me know as soon as you've got more details on the date and stuff like that. Because,
Of course.
like I said, we'll get you back on, but I would be happy to announce it or make sure that we get as many people in the UK as excited about skipping as possible.
Yeah, yeah. I mean that's at the end of the day, that's the aim of the game, isn't it? If we can have a craze about a Rubik's Cube, why can't we have a craze about skipping?
You know, and it's so much healthier than the Rubik's Cube.
Well, I'm not going to comment on that.
I think it's more fun. I mean, the Rubik's Cube was fun, but I was always a cheater. I was the guy who would pry it apart, and then pop it. Yeah, that's the only way to solve it.
Yeah,
That's the
always.
engineer's way to solve it, right? Well, thank you again, Mandy. I really appreciate you coming on, and it's so much fun to learn more about you and your skipping. And I just think that this goal of setting a world record is so fun, and what a way to not only benefit cancer research, but also benefit individual people and inspire individual people with something
Yeah,
that makes everybody better. And like you
yeah,
said, the community is amazing, right?
yeah. Absolutely amazing. I mean, when I first put up my first skipping video on that 1st of October 2023, I had almost 100 likes within an hour of putting it up there.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely amazing.
Yeah. I bet that made you feel good and just
It
feel like
really did.
there's
It
people out there.
encouraged me, it kept me going. Yeah, it
Right.
really did. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I feel so fortunate to be part of the jump rope community and to try and contribute because the amount of love and support and instruction that I've got from people in the community is just, I'm so thankful for it.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, me too. I think it's a brilliant. And thank you for having me on your amazing podcast, Dizzy. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely. I'm so glad you could come. Thank you, Mandy.
Thanks, Dizzy.